you guys are filing in here. Drop in the chat. Where are you guys from? I'm always interested. Are we got some Californians in here where I live. Anybody back from PA, my home state? Where's everybody from? Oklahoma, Rhode Island. Yes, Rochester, Minnesota. Why do you live there? -10 right now? 14? Where are we at? Emily. We got some Montana, North Carolina. I think we're representing every state in the country right now. Florida, Orange County, California. Love it. San Jose. We got some Californians in here. Ohio, Mississippi. Boom. Love it, guys. All right. It's 4 after. Everyone else who's late can figure it out because we are charging on. Well, welcome, guys. First and foremost, congratulations to yourselves. Pat yourself on the back. Give yourself that cookie this evening, if you will, for taking time out of your evening to learn something. I know it's not easy to break away, especially if you're on the East Coast. 8 o'clock at this point in time? You're not allowed to fall asleep during this training. Not only will I take that as an insult, but I will be very unhappy. No, but guys, seriously, congratulations on taking some time out of your evening to learn something. I'm super stoked to be here with you guys, and I'm going to do my absolute best to drop as much knowledge, useful knowledge, as humanly possible on you guys when it comes to rental property investing this evening. So let me get my screen shared here. I will check in with you guys to make sure you can see it. But let me get this sucker up and running. It's going to look a little funky for a second, but I promise I'm going to fix this. It probably looks real funky right now. I'll make this unfunky in a second. All right. It should be unfunky. You should see me, a very flattering photo of me that a professional photographer took, and also a slide that says, learn my endless equity formula. Give me an oh yeah in the chat if that's what you can see. Perfect. Love it, guys. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to learn my endless equity strategy. I'd like to say that there are things in the real estate world that are brand new that no one's ever done before, but I promise you that is untrue. So anybody that stands in front of you and tells you they figured out something brand new and exciting that the world's never seen before, 99.9% of the chance they're lying to you, right? So this is something that we've been doing for decades, right? 100 years, right? Since somebody came up with an idea of how to buy a rental property, we have been doing this process, but we have made the process a little bit easier. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys tonight. So how do you get the most out of this call, guys? First and foremost, come on, let me get this sucker working. We got to be coachable, right? For some of us, let's see in the chat. Hit me with a 1 if you've done less than 5 rental property investments in your life. Hit me with a 2 if you've done more than 5. So let me see where we stand. A 1 if less than 5, a 5 if or a 2 if more than 5. All right, lots of newbies, love it. Cool. And we got some 2s in here, beautiful. Annika, Yisa, love it. Nate, awesome. Lots of news, good. Lonnie, straight 0, right? Nothing. I love it. Agnes, awesome. We got some experience in Agnes. Good. Good stuff, guys. Well, whether you're an experienced real estate investor or not, guys, tonight's the night to be coachable, right? So leave whatever, preconceptions you had. We're going to learn. Guess what? If we leave those preconceptions at the door, they're going to be there when we're done and we can pick them up on the way out. But in the meantime, let's just be open. Let's be coachable. Be positive. We're going to talk about good vibes here in a second. I enjoy lightheartedness. You're going to hear a lot of swearing throughout this presentation. So if that offends you, I'm sorry. I won't do my best to keep it a minimum, but I will do my best to be entertaining as hell So I promise you that. All right. Take as many notes as you possibly can. Turn your cell phone to silent. Put the kids to bed if possible. And just try to be distraction free, right? You've already committed to yourself. So you're going to take the next 90 minutes and dive into this. So let's get the most out of it humanly possible, guys. And good vibes only, right? We're going to tell jokes. We're going to laugh. I promise that when I tell a joke, it is not serious. Please don't try to cancel me. I promise that I don't mean anything wrong by it. All right. We're just going to have fun. We're going to enjoy ourselves. If you're feeling that urge to write something negative in the comments, just don't do it. Okay. I will throw you out of here quicker than you can say the word, I'm sorry. All right. We want to have fun. We want to be excited. So just only positive vibes. Okay. What are we going to learn tonight? We don't got time for bad vibes because we are taking on all of this evening. We're going to learn the 3 pillars of wealth creation. We're going to talk about financial independence planning. You guys are going to create a financial independence plan for yourselves tonight on this call. So you will actually leave here with something that you can start working towards immediately. All right. We're going to go through the endless equity formula and how that works. We're going to talk about the power of one rental property. We're going to talk about done for you deals, how to fund your deals, right? The no bullshit story. You know, we hear this, you don't need any money. Well, we're going to talk about the truth, right? So we're going to say, hey, what do I really need in terms of cash, in terms of money and moolah to invest in real estate? And we're going to, if we have time, this is if we have time. I will ask for your permission at the end. We will go through stacking rental returns for financial freedom. Sometimes I get a little bit long-winded and we don't get there, but we'll see what happens tonight. All right. So let's learn a little bit more about me. If there's this guy that's going to be in front of you flapping his gums all night, you might as well know where he comes from and what he does. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, guys. I live in San Diego. I've been here for the last 17 years. You might not agree with my politics, but everybody can agree on sunshine. And holy shit, the sunshine is great. All right. So that's why I live here. All right. I started investing back in 2008. I failed miserably at it, like awful. Like literally the first project I ever did, I lost $17,000 on. I have since learned my lessons. I am not perfect. I still lose money on deals, but man, I win a lot more than I lose. All right. I own an active fix and flip business in Connecticut. You know, that shit you see on HGTV, that's what I do in Connecticut, right? I buy a crappy house, I make it look pretty, I put all the sizzle features in it, and I sell it for the most money humanly possible. But my favorite thing in the whole world to do is to buy rental properties. And that's been my focus for probably the last 15 of my 17 years of investing. I've had the opportunity over the past 11 years to coach a lot of students. All that coaching came from that last kind of bullet point you see there is helping my father-in-law retire. It was actually 4.5 years it took him to retire. But, you know, and I'd say this in the kindest way humanly possible is, you know, I was investing in real estate. I had been for, you know, probably 10, 12 years at that point in time. My father-in-law came to me, you know what they say about working with family. It's usually not the brightest idea. But I decided to send it. And told my father, I said, hey, I will help you. But this isn't like I'm giving you money to help you. This is, I'm going to tell you what to do. If you go and do it, great. If you don't go and do it, I don't care. That's fine as well, too. You're not going to offend me. I told him what to do. 4.5 years later, he turned around. He recreated his W-2 salary in rental income. So having absolutely no opportunity to retire to be able to do whatever he wanted, I said to myself, I go, man, and again, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just being honest. If my 58-year-old father-in-law can figure it out and he can do it in 4.5 years, then anyone can do it. Right. And that's kind of where all of this ultimately was born from. And I've helped investors buy a shit ton of real estate over those last 11 years that I've been doing that. So guys, that's a little bit about me. You'll learn more about me as I tell stories and go through this process. But one of my idols that I've always kind of put in the back of my mind as I've been an investor is Warren Buffett. And, you know, I think this, especially, you know, we just had an inauguration last night. You know, there's all these things up in the air with the economy and where we're headed, right? This is, I think, a perfect quote for where we're at right now is be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. And right now, with all this change, people get scared. And when people get scared, they start to, shrink. They start to hold on to money. They start to kind of batten down the hatches. when in actuality, that's usually the best time to invest, right? People are getting nervous. They're not investing, whereas that's leaving deals and available, money on the table. So I think it's really good to remember that as we come into this time in our life, or in this time of the economy and where we stand. Another thing that Warren Buffett has always preached, he's always preached to create a foundation, right? He always creates rules, right? Warren has rules for the PE sheets. Whenever he looks at a business, he has rules that every company needs to follow or needs to have in place in order for him to invest. And as an individual investor, we need to have those same rules, right? If we don't have bumpers on ourselves at all times, guiding our investment prowess, then we'll just invest in anything at any time, right? We'll allow our emotions to get in the way. We'll allow our less than better judgment to get in the way, and it just won't wind up well, right? So what we need to do, guys, in the spirit of learning from Warren Buffett, is we need to put some pillars, some investment pillars in place. Now, if you guys have a pen and paper out, I want you to pull that bad boy out, sharpen that pencil, make sure your pen's filled with ink. This is where we're going to start taking notes, guys. All right. We're going to talk about our 3 investment pillars. Now, again, do you guys need to follow these exactly to the T? Absolutely not. But it's a good guide, guys. And if you want to add more pillars to this, I encourage that as well, too. But here are my 3 pillars to successful rental property investing. Number 1 is the house has to cash flow from day one. We are in the business of buying assets, not liabilities. And if the house doesn't cash flow from day one and we're not happy with the ROI that it provides us, then we're not buying it. All right. Think about this, right? There's what's called buy and hold or buy, hold, and hope. All right. Hope is not an investment strategy, guys, right? Hope is where you're like, it'll appreciate in 10 years and that's where I'll make my money. Or I'll be able to raise the rents in 2 years and that's where we'll make our money. That's not a strategy. We want this property to provide us the cash flow and the return on investment that we want and that we demand from day one. All right. That's strategy numero uno. Number 2, guys, is buy affordable investments. If there's any guarantee with rental properties, it's the fact that it will be vacant at some point in time in the future. And it'll also have maintenance involved with it. If there's any guarantee, that is a guarantee that you can take to the bank. I promise you that. All right. And so if we know that it's going to be vacant at some point in time, then what we should do is we should make sure that if we have to pay that mortgage payment, we can afford it. All right. So buy affordable investments. This is where this whole Airbnb craze terrifies me. And the reason why, guys, is I don't know if you know this or not, but Airbnb has never been through an economic downturn, right? We only learned about Airbnb in 2010, right? After shit hit the fan. And if we can look back on the hotel world, right, in the last economic downturn, hotels got eaten alive whenever we had an economic downturn because travel gets eaten alive, right? No one's got extra money to spend, right? So what terrifies me is these people that bought these Airbnbs that have $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month mortgages that, the only way they're able to afford those mortgages is because they can Airbnb that property and make $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 a month, right? What happens when they can't fill up those homes anymore with vacationers, right? That's why I'm interested to see how Airbnb, fares as we go through another economic downturn. And then our 3rd pillar, guys, is buy to hold long term, right? This is probably Warren Buffett's signature message is buy and hold, right? With real estate, I want you to ask yourself a question. Do you know anyone that has owned a home for 20 or 30 years, right? And if they have owned that home for 20 or 30 years, have they kept it in good condition? Because if you've owned a home for 20 or 30 years and you've kept it in good condition, the chances of you actually losing out on that investment is 0%. The longer we hold a piece of real estate and keep it in quality condition, the likelihood of losing money is almost 0, just because of general inflation and appreciation that occurs across the United States on an annual basis. So holding a property long-term almost guarantees your success, guys, right? So our 3 pillars, right? Pillar number 1, cash flow from day one. Pillar number 2, buy affordable investments. Pillar number 3, buy and hold long-term. So we've laid our foundation. We have our bumper plates or our bumpers in our bowling alley, right? So we're always hitting strikes. We're always making the right investments. All right. Now we got to come up with a plan for ourselves, right? My biggest mentor, actually I had two mentors, Than and Paul. Than, I heard him say this one of the first times I ever heard him speak. I heard him say this to me and I always remember it. And he said, and just so we're clear, this guy right now, Than and Paul, they own 2.8, I think $2.8 billion in real estate right now. $2.8 billion in real estate, these guys. All right. And Than's biggest regret to this day is that he didn't focus more of his energy on buying rental properties as he was creating an investment business. And he owns $2.8 billion in real estate right now, right? I feel like that's saying volumes to the importance of having a plan that's allowing you to focus on rental properties, right? So we have our foundation built. Let's talk about building that plan. We know we promised you guys we built out this financial investment strategy. Let's do that right now. So remember this, guys, prior preparation and planning prevent piss poor performance, right? How many times could you say that before you spit on the person across the desk from you? All right. Prior preparation and planning prevents piss poor performance. All right. So we are going to plan and we are going to prepare to make sure we don't wake up in 20 or 30 years when it's time to retire or leave a legacy for our kids or pay for a wedding or whatever God's name it might be, right? And be left with our pants down. All right. So remember this as we go through that. All right. So first thing we got to ask ourselves, what are we prepping for? All right. Guys, in the chat box, what do you guys want to plan for? Wedding, retirement, legacy, vacations, fun money? Drop in the chat. Why are you guys wanting to invest in real estate and buy rental properties? What is the main motive? Hit me. Legacy, Lisa, nice. Chris, legacy. Alejandra, legacy. Retirement, financial freedom, boom. Guys, lots of legacy. I love that. Short-term financial freedom, long-term legacy. I love it. Being over 65 and being on a fixed income. Love it, Mike. Retirement. Love it, guys. These are the reasons why we invest, right? Because these big expenses that occur in our lives. All right. Does anyone know? Let's just pick one of these to talk about. But let's start with retirement because retirement's easy. All right. Does anyone know? You can drop this in the chat. How much money the average American needs to have in retirement to retire comfortably, to live out their years without needing to worry about money? Does anybody know how much money they need to retire? Howard, your money, your number 7 million. I love that. Howard is driving a Ferrari and has a yacht in retirement. That's what I know about Howard based on 7 million. 3 million, 1 million. You guys are close. You guys are flirting with it. It's 1.46 million. That's the average American, right? If you want to know what you're at, you need to have about 6 to 10 times your annual income. All right. But the average American, in conjunction with Social Security, needs about 1.46 million in their retirement account. That's crazy. Absolutely insane. You know what's even crazier? Is this number. Guys, I want you to guess. Oh, damn it. Never mind. You guys already saw it. I was going to ask you to guess what was the average income of a 60 or the average savings in a 401k at the age of 65. So remember, this is where we need to be. This is where we're at. This is where we need to be. This is where we're at. That's terrifying, right? That means two things, right? And I'm not letting everybody on this call off the hook. All right. I just want to give you a heads up on that. Since this is where we need to be, and this is where we're at, two things have happened. Number one, the system has failed us. The education that we've been provided in school, in college, by our financial advisors has sucked ass. Number one. And number two, we haven't taken responsibility for ourselves and our own financials, right? We could have done this research. You could have watched this webinar 6 years ago. All right. So one, it's their fault. Two, it's our fault. All right. But we now have the opportunity to change it because we can see it. All right. And this is the same issue that my father-in-law was running into, right? This is the guy that we just talked about, right? His goal was pretty simple, right? For a lot of you guys, $60,000 a year probably like is half of what you make, right? $60,000 a year was his annual income. Yes, that is the cutest dog you've ever seen on the face of the planet. I get it. And you're 100% right. All right. Her name is Meadow and she's fantastic. Anyways, $60,000 a year was his goal. All right. It took him 4.5 years to get to that point. And I'm going to show you guys how he got there. And I'm going to take you guys through his first investment. All right. Do you guys actually, well, before I do that, do you guys want to see his first investment? Just drop in the chat. If you do, great. If not, we can move on to the next subject. I don't want to bore you with stuff or how he did it. All right, cool. So now remember, my father-in-law managed the hardwood flooring production floor, right? So like there's a floor where everybody's putting together a hardwood floor and they're laminating it and they're sanding it and they're doing all that stuff. He managed the people that did that. All right. And he lived in Connecticut. He had 2 kids, right? Connecticut's expensive enough to begin with. You have $60,000 a year in W-2 income. Guess what? That's not going to go very far. And it's sure shit not going to pay for retirement, right? And at about 57, 58 years old, he realized, holy crap, I'm not going to be able to retire. You know, Social Security is just not going to cut it. And that's where he came to me and said, hey, John, you got to help me out here. All right. And I reluctantly, to be honest, shared with him how he could go about doing this. And the first property that he ever bought was Home Run Central, right? He did a great job at doing this. This is in his hometown of Hamden, Connecticut. All right. And it's a 3-unit property. It's Dixwell Avenue. All right. Look at that sexy yellow and white beast. All right. This is a 3-unit property. This is in Connecticut. In the Northeast, we call this what's called a 3-story walk-up. There's a first floor unit, a second floor unit, and a third floor unit. All right. It's a 3-unit home. All right. It's a value add property. The home was not in great condition. This actually is after renovation, right? The home is actually now in great shape. The only thing is just has really ugly siding. But if you've ever sided a house, you don't change the siding just because it's yellow, all right? Because it's too expensive. He purchased it off market. He actually got the lead from an agent who had it off market, whose neighbor was selling. All right. Turn time took 3 months to renovate this property. All right. And he 100% financed it with private money. It was actually a combination of private money and hard money, which I'll show you guys how to do later on. But he 100% financed the property. All right. The purchase price was $152,000, right? Told you I'm not lying. I'm showing you the settlement statement here, right? I don't like making up numbers and not showing you the proof of them. All right. So he paid $152,500 for this sucker. All right. As you can see here is 100% finance. Why? Well, the money he got back at closing was for a loan for $171,000. Well, if I bought it for $152,000 and I got financed for $171,000, that means I could take home $34,000. All right. So $152,000 purchase price, total renovation costs. He went over about $3,000 in renovation, or $4,000 in renovation was $38,000. All-in cost was $207,000. All right. Awesome. Great job, John. What did he do from there? Well, then he got it rented. $3,600 in rents. All right. First floor was $13,000. Second story was $13,000. Third story was $1,000. $3,600 a month. All right. The after repair value, once it was appraised, was $375,000. Big ones. How did that shake out? This is what the renovation looked like. This is, I think, the first floor. Yeah, I know it's first floor. Those are what the renovations turned out to be. Not beautiful, but not too shabby for a rental property. Once that was done, he had to get it appraised. Boom, guys. There you go. There's the appraisal. $375,000 appraisal. All right. That was 3 months after he purchased the home. All right. Sharing you the real numbers. So what wound up happening? Well, he got 2 things out of this. He got a big fatty check, and guess what? He got himself some cash flow. So after repair value was $275,000, our all-in costs were $207,000. He took a 70% loan to value ratio. So 70% of the after repair value is $262,500. That means he took a fatty check for $55,000 out of this property. Now, did he go buy himself a new boat? No, he did not. He used that to invest in the next property, right? And he also collects $1,800 a month in net rental income, right? So he went from making $5,000 a month in gross W-2 income to, at the end of his first property, he's cashing a check for net $1,800 every month. He's already like halfway to his take home in this situation, guys. Okay. That was property number one. Give me an oh yeah if that's something that you guys are trying to recreate for yourself, right? I just want to make sure I'm talking to the right group here. Give me an oh yeah if this is what you're looking for. Perfect. Love it, guys. So what wound up happening is he was able to recreate his $60,000 in income about 4.5 years, right? Now, I'm not saying that he recreated $60,000 of before tax dollars, right? His W-2 income was 60 grand. He actually created $60,000 in net income. So he is now at retirement making almost double what he made while he worked, right? Which I think is what ultimately pisses him off so much. Because he was like, John, why didn't I do this when I was 32 instead of 62? This is ridiculous. All right, guys. And the first thing that my father-in-law and I ever did when we started this project was we created a plan, right? We set out the bumpers, we set out the foundation, we talked about those 3 pillars, which he used when he invested in every one of those properties, but we also built a plan. So guys, break out that pen and paper again. Here we go. We're going to talk about a financial independence plan. So I'm going to go through the exact same exercise I went through with him to figure out how much money we had to recreate. All right. So guys, we all need a starting point, right? Yes. First and foremost, everybody wants to make $50,000 a month. All right. We get it. I want to make 50. You want to make 50. Amber wants to make 50. Everybody wants to make 50 grand a month, right? But we got to start somewhere. And if we've never made $50,000 a month, let's not start with that goal. All right. Let's start with our monthly expenses. All right. What are our monthly expenses? Like we take our mortgage, our taxes, our insurance, our car payment, our car insurance, our cell phone bill, like just come up with a damn number. All right. It doesn't have to be rocket science. We're going to use $5,000. Okay. So let's say we need to create $5,000 to cover this nut. All right. You can write down whatever number works for you. All right. Now we need to figure out how many properties we need to buy in order. How many units should I say? It doesn't have to be properties. Like with John, my father-in-law's name is also John. With him, he had 3 units in one, right? So he kind of got away with buying less properties, but had more units. So we got to figure out how many units. I'm using a very conservative number here, right? You know, with my father-in-law, he's probably at about 700 a door, to be honest with you, versus 300. But we're going to be super conservative because I like conservative numbers. Under promise, over deliver is the key. So we're going to take whatever our expenses were. We're going to divide that by $300 per door, and we're going to come up with 17 units. That's our goal. We got to come up with 17 units. All right. Now, with John, we sat down and we said, John, how many properties do you think you can pull together in a quarter, right? If you have an extra 5 or 7 hours a week to put towards this, how many properties do you think you can pull together, right? He thought he could pull together 1 property a quarter. I mean, he could find and purchase 1 rental property a quarter, right? And I'll teach you guys how to do all this stuff as we go through this call. But 1 property per quarter. So we just did the math, guys. And you guys make these numbers up for yourself. If we had 17 cash flowed units needed, and we're going to be able to pick one of those up per quarter, that means it's going to take 17 quarters in order to buy enough properties to meet our monthly expenses, which ultimately wound up being 4.25 years. All right. Now with John, quarter 1, he bought 3 units, right? So he basically took like a 6-month hiatus and then he bought another property by the end of the year, right? So this will ebb and flow, right? But we want to plan at an average so that you guys have something you can tape in your mirror or focus on, right? Because I can tell you this much. Who here put a 1 in the meeting chat if you guys have a 401k or a financial planner? Emily, who else? Yep, Rebecca, Annika, perfect. Keep going. Got a 1, put it, if you got a financial planner or a 401k with your job, put it in there, all right? I just outplanned anything you've ever done up to this point. You want to know why? Because when you walked in and you got your job and you sat down with your 401k planner for your company or your HR department, or whoever was doing, your onboarding, you had a document about that thick of papers surrounding how that 401k worked. They slid it across the desk. And on top of it was one piece of paper. It said, in 90 days, would you like to participate in your 401k? Check yes. Check. Question number 2, how much of your income would you like to include? So you wrote a number in there. Number 2 was they would tell you about their match. If they did match at all, it was probably 3, if you're really lucky, at 6% of whatever your contribution amount was. Now, remind you, when they ask you how much you would like to contribute, they didn't tell you, oh, well, you need to contribute X amount of dollars to actually retire by the time you want to retire. They just ask you straight up, how much do you want to contribute? And here's the fun part, guys. One of the very last questions on that sheet is this. Would you like to invest cautiously, moderately, or high risk, right? What the hell does that even mean, right? Other than the fact that you might get a higher return the riskier you get. That was the extent of the planning. Whether you guys even remember that or not, that's how you were planned for retirement when you joined your company, right? So what we just went through here is 3 times that, right? What are your monthly expenses? How many units are you going to need to buy in order to cover those monthly expenses? And how long is it going to take you in order to do that, guys? So now that you have that, now you have a plan. Now you know you have to buy 1 or 2 or 5 properties or units per quarter in order to get to that retirement number. All right. Let's keep this train rolling. All right. I always like to use the Monopoly. I used to have Monopoly pieces sitting on my desk because I would buy rental properties. I would like trade them out for hotels. I'm weird. I get it. I'm sorry. But more cash flow, more freedom, guys. End of the story. Right. And through this process, what I shared with my father-in-law is the endless equity formula. It's built really on what I would call, 5 strategies, right? Find it, analyze it, fund it, cash flow, and automate it. I don't know why one of these logos is purple, why the rest are blue. I'm just bad at clip art. I'm sorry, but that is what it is. So find it, analyze it, fund it, cash flow, and automate it. And what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go through all of this. Okay. And I'm going to show you guys how to implement this immediately after you get off the call so that you guys can start taking ground on growing your portfolio. All right. But how does the endless equity formula really work? So here's an example. I have find a house, and this house is in really crappy condition, like really crappy condition. Now, guys, remember the numbers I'm going to use here. They're not real numbers. All right, we're just using them as examples because math is easy. All right, so don't freak out. Don't be like, John, where can I buy a house for 40 grand? Right? We're just coming up with numbers. Okay. So the purchase price for the home is $100,000 and the renovation is 20 grand. All right, say it with me. That means we are into this home for $120,000. We are into this home for 120 grand. We use a private money lender, a hard money lender, business credit, home equity line of credit, 401k, whatever. Like there's a million one different ways that we can fund this, and I will show you guys how to do that. We fund the purchase and the renovation with that capital. All right. We complete the renovation. Bing, bam, boom, right? We already went over this example with John, but I'm going to show you how this endless equity strategy works in a much simpler form. Once the home is complete, guess what? It's worth 165 grand, right? We're in it for 120. It's worth 165. All right. We go to a long-term bank, right? We use conventional financing or DSCR financing or some type of commercial lending product, something. All right. And we refinance. Actually, most lenders right now are going up to 80%. I'm doing 80% right now at like high 6s, low 7 interest rates. It's freaking money. But anyways, in this example, we'll do 75% loan to value ratio. 75% of $165,000 is $123,000, guys. All right. The bank then pays off our private or hard money lender or home equity line of credit or whatever we use to finance the property. All right. And now we own this home with no money or very little of our own money in the deal. And we're cash flowing from this property from day one with the intention to hold it long term. All right. No money in the deal with cash flow equals an infinite return, guys. All right. That's how the endless equity formula works. All right. Let's keep this rolling. So, first part of the endless equity strategy. How's this work? Well, first and foremost, we got to find it. All right. I use what I call my reverse rental funnel. I'm getting hot. I'm taking this thing off. All right. So, guys, the goal here is to not recreate the wheel. We all own a laptop, right? It is 2025. You can have properties, tens, 20, 30, 50, 60, however many properties you want in your inbox every day to analyze, you can have them in your inbox. And all it takes is like 1 to 2 months worth of work, and you will be so sick of properties being sent to your inbox that you'll start like pushing them to spam. I promise you that. I'm going to show you right now. So, for example, the reverse rental funnel, guys, the purpose of this is to fill your inbox with potential properties, right? We don't need to go out and call agents and search the MLS and do all this stuff. We want them coming to our inbox so that we can evaluate them quickly and make a decision on if we want to invest in those properties. All right. So, first off is the reverse rental funnel. All right. The two people that are going to supply those properties to us are wholesale and real estate agents. All right. And what we need to do is we need to create what's called a KPI. You're going to hear me say this over and over again while we're on the call. You need KPIs for every aspect of your life. They're called they stand for key performance indicators. These are the things that you need to measure in order to make sure you're successful. All right. For example, with key performance indicators here, what we're going to do is for 3 to 5 hours a week, we're going to contact 10 people. For 3 to 5 hours, we're going to spend that time, 20 minutes a person. We're going to reach out to 10 people. Wholesalers or real estate agents, right? You can find wholesalers on Facebook groups. You can find real estate agents in those Facebook groups. You can find wholesalers on investorlift.com. You can find real estate agents on Zillow. There's a million and one different places. All we're going to do is we're going to commit ourselves to calling 10 wholesalers or real estate agents every week and sharing with them that we want to find value add rental properties. All right. That'll equate to 40 contacts a month or 40 contacts every month. And we're going to do that for 2 months. That's it. I promise you at the end of those 2 months, your inbox will be a war zone of rental properties. All right. And it'll look like this. Guys, last time I did this presentation was in December. So that's why these are December. But these are all wholesalers, Ace, Ready Door Homes, right? I am a huge investor in Memphis, Tennessee. These are all rental properties in Memphis, Tennessee that are being sent to me. Great rental, great rental, great rental, great rental, great rental. Like it's annoying, right? Dude, you guys just take the time to put this and work these systems. These systems will pay you back. Now, I don't call people. I don't talk to agents on a day-to-day basis. I set this, I forget this. I have properties coming to my inbox every single week or every single day that I can evaluate for purchase. All right. We also have software that we use where we can go and find undervalued properties. Again, I'm showing Memphis here because at the end of the day, I'm a huge investor in Memphis, right? Look at all these value add properties, these great 3-bedroom, 2-bath brick homes. Here's a duplex, right? $50,000. All of these properties listed just days ago that are direct from seller, guys, that are able to be purchased, to add value, to find equity, to own as rental investments. All right. This is all part of what you guys can do very easily, just committing 5 to 7 hours a week. Now, ninja tip. Every single one of my segments is going to have a ninja tip. This is like the thing that you've learned after doing this for 17 years that, holy shit, I really wish I would have learned it 17 years ago. Okay. So ninja tip number 1 with the reverse rental funnel when it comes to finding rental properties, set up MLS searches. And here's the criteria. You're going to make a phone call. No, you don't even need to call an agent. Guess what? Realtor.com, Zillow.com, Redfin.com. Where do you think they get all their information? They get it straight from the MLS. We don't need an agent to access the MLS, guys. We're going to go to one of those websites and we're going to put in these search criteria. We're going to look for houses at and below the median income. How do you find the median home price? You Google St. Louis, median home price, Memphis, median home price, right? Whatever that number is, we're going to set up a search for houses less than that. All right. When those properties start coming over, you're going to look, are they in great condition or are they in shitty condition? We want the shitty ones. All right. And we want to look at properties, and we can set up two different searches. One for properties that immediately come on the market, and for all properties that hit 90 days or longer on the market. Our best chance to buy properties that are on the MLS, that are live on the market, have been on the market for either less than 24 hours or more than 90 days. That's the key for on-market properties and getting a deal. All right. And review those properties that come in daily. The first day you set up this search, it's going to get gnarly. You're going to have 100 properties dumped into your inbox. But then over the course of the weeks, right, it'll be a couple a day. Okay. So just be prepped, get through that first big batch, and then jump into it. Doing this system gets you consistent properties coming in the door every single week, then every single day that you can make offers on. All right. Now, if setting up this system, looking at and analyzing properties is just too overwhelming, well, how about you just have them hand delivered to you? All right. This is something that we started to do about 9 months ago with our team, and they're what we call done for you deals, guys. Check this out. If you're not paying attention or looking at your screen, zoom in right now. This is an absolute game changer. All right. So for a lot of my students, they're busy professionals, or, they're just nervous about investing outside of their backyard, and they really want someone to support them in doing that. So what we started to do is we started creating what are called done for you deals. What happens when we said all of this was part of what, you didn't have to lift a finger, right? So what these done for you deals look like, guys, is this. All right. This property is found for you. There's a construction team in place, and there's a property management team ready to take over the management of the home once the construction is completed. All right. How do they work? Well, you as the investor are in charge of two things. You got to fund the purchase price, and you have to fund the rehab budget. We guide you through the process of funding those two things. All right. But you're in charge of this. All right. That's your commitment. You got to come up with hard money, private money, home equity line of credit, 401k, whatever it is. And I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. But this is your responsibility. All right. And then you're along for the ride on the renovation. Renovation is probably going to take about 2 to 4 months, depending on how shitty the property is. And then at the end of the day, the home is going to be worth more than you have in it, right? Home's worth 217, but we're all in it for 250 or for 165. Okay. So that means we have $54,000 of equity. Guys, the property was found, renovated, and now is professionally managed for you. And guess what? You still get $54,000 worth of equity plus cash flow of $337 a month. All right. All of that is done for you. All right. All the students that I have access to these properties. Here's another one. One of my students just bought this one. This one's in Arkansas. All right. Same situation. Purchase was $63,000. Rehab budget was $30,000. They were responsible for coming up with that. Let's call it $94,000. All right. Once the renovation was done, it was worth $125,000. That means they had $31,000 of equity. So they could go and they could refinance this property, pull all or the majority of their cash out, recycle that money into the next property, and also still get $804 a month in cash flow, right? Go back and check out those numbers that you just wrote down. If you got, let's say, $700 per property in net cash flow, how many properties would you need to buy? Right? Do that math. How many properties would you need to buy to cover all of your monthly expenses if you got $700 a month in cash flow? All right. And all of that is done for you. If you guys don't want to hang out for the renovation, you think the renovation takes too much time and it's too boring or too risky, guess what? You don't have to. We do fully renovated properties as well, too, if that's something more in alignment with what you guys want to buy. So this property's been found, it's been purchased, it's been fully renovated, it's tenanted, it's professionally managed and cash flowing from day one, right? The downside is because all that work's already been done for you and you're not taking on any of that risk, guess what? You're paying market value for the home. The home's worth 157, you're paying 157,000 for it. In these situations, you're going to be required to put a 20% down payment on the property, which is $31,000. Our goal as an investment team is to get you double digits on that investment. So if your investment in this case was $31,400, you're going to receive a net return of about 16%, guys. All right. Down payment, $31,000. Leveraged ROIs, 16%. Most investors usually utilize cash for these down payments. If that's not something you have or you can do, no worries. You can always do the Burr strategy properties, guys. Okay. All of that is available for you guys as what we call done for you deals. I don't know. Can you guys see this blue streak in the middle of my screen? I don't know where that came from, but or how to get rid of it. So we're just going to live with that. Can you guys put an oh yeah in there if you can see this blue line that I'm seeing in the middle of my screen? Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Does someone have a draw tool that they're using on my computer that I don't know about? Has someone hacked my system? Let's keep it going, guys. So these done for you deals. So from a find it standpoint, we don't do find it properties. We don't do done for you deals in every market around the country, right? We do it in 4 different markets. We do Ohio, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Missouri. All right. You don't like any of those markets? No harm, no foul. You don't have to do done for your deals. You guys can follow our find it system and the reverse rental funnel process and fill your inbox up with the same type of properties that we already find for you through the done for you deal system. All right. And here's an example, right? Like, I hate when I hear people talk about things but don't show any proof, right? Because that just means they're full of hot air and they're not showing value, right? I already showed you what my father-in-law was doing, right? The other people inside of our group, right? They successfully closed their Burr turnkey, guys, right? There it is. Boom, right there. Their Burr turnkey. Those are properties we just talked about there in our call, right? Michael Rouse, he just went under contract on his first property. He actually just closed on that first property about 4 or 5 days ago. Nate Hall is finishing a 3-unit, and I think he just bought a 14-unit commercial space, if I'm not mistaken. So Nate's absolutely smashing it. And then Roger McClung, he's already not only on like his 3rd rental property, he's working on like a few $100,000 renovation project as we speak. So guys, what we're doing with the reverse rental funnel is working, and our students are taking massive advantage of it. So we've talked about how to find properties. We made that about as easily as you can humanly think about it. Next is analyze it. All right. I want you guys to answer this question. Fill in the blank. We make our money when we put it in the chat. We make money when we finish that sentence. Van, why do we only do business in those markets? We only do business in those markets because that's a lot of bandwidth, just as an FYI, to set up property management and set up construction teams and set up marketing and all of those things. That takes a lot. Oh, my camera just froze on me, guys. As long as you can still hear me, we should be good. Let me get this sucker fixed up for us. Yep, you guys nailed it. We make money when we buy. You got it. Boom, camera's back in the game. We make money when we buy. What does that mean? That means we have to buy right. We have to analyze our deal correctly. One thing that you guys are all going to get whenever we get off this call is you're going to get my rental property endless equity deal analyzer. You're welcome. You got to stay to the end of the call in order to get it. This is your weapon. This is what's going to allow you to make sure that every property that you buy is an absolute freaking slam dunk dime piece. All right. You're going to analyze your core numbers, your holding costs, your repair costs, your refinance costs, and your after repair value, guys. All that stuff goes in the spreadsheet. As you can see here, there's all these blue cells. These blue cells are the things that you need to fill out. All right. So we're going to share this endless equity deal analyzer with you guys so you can make sure that when you are analyzing all of those rental properties that are flowing into your inbox from the reverse rental funnel system that you guys put into action in your business as soon as you leave here, you're going to be able to analyze those properties correctly and make good offers. All right. A few things that you're going to see in that deal analyzer is you're going to see estimating repairs. Now, I know for a lot of us, right, when I ask you how many rental properties you own, everybody put a 1, right? That means they were beginners. That means they haven't seen that many rental properties or purchased that many rentals. So we try to make this as easy as possible, guys. So when you're going through the repair estimate on this deal analyzer, guys, Don't overthink it. We're going through the photos. If you don't see it or you can't test it, you're getting a new one, right? If it doesn't say that it has a new HVAC system, or it doesn't say that the roof's only 5 years old, or it doesn't say the water heater was installed 2 years ago, guess what? You're getting a new one, right? You can't see it in the photo, you're replacing it. Other than that, go through the photos and put a 1 or however many numbers of things that you need, right? You're going to need more than one window, right? And what it'll do is here's all of your average nationwide pricing around the country. It's going to spit out a total renovation cost for you guys. All right. Now, granted, this isn't going to be perfect, but what it's going to do is it's going to get an offer out the door. Guys, that's the name of the game. Get an offer out the door. Say it with me. Get an offer out the door. Don't overthink this. All right. You should be able to go through this entire list in 5 minutes or less and move the heck on. Now, once you filled out all these blue spaces, guys, right, on the front, on the initial page, and then the repair estimator, then it's going to start to spit out some results for you. All right. And you're going to start to see 2 different types of results. You're going to see rental results and fix and flip results. So let's look at the rental results first. All right. Now, guys, I'm going to give you an inside trick, right? This isn't even a ninja tip, but I'm going to give you an inside tip. Anyways, lots of tips. All right, here we go. 2 things that I look at when I'm buying a rental property. 2 things. I'm looking at cap rate, and I'm looking at how much money I'm going to need to leave in the deal. Cap rate, how much money I'm leaving in the deal. All right. So if you look here at the bottom where it says capitalization rate, 10.77%. I don't wake up. I don't get out of bed. I don't sniff, look at it, or go any further unless this is a 9% or higher. All right. 9% or higher is the jam. All right. So this obviously in this scenario is higher than 9%. I'm excited. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at cash to close during refinance. All right. You guys get to set this for yourself. All right. For me, I don't like leaving any more than $10,000 in the deal. If this number is positive, that means we're getting money back. That means we're getting a check at the time when we refinance the deal. If this number is negative, that means I have to leave that amount of money in the deal. Okay. So I will only allow this number to be negative up to $10,000. Okay. So I don't leave any more than 10 grand in the deal, and I need to have at least a 9 cap. All right. And then you'll obviously see your cash flow that you're getting every single month. But those cash to close during refinance and capitalization rate, those are the numbers I want to look at. Set that foundation for yourself. If we don't have that baseline foundation, guess what? We'll be like, oh, well, I really like this house. It's like close to me. So like, I'm fine with a 5 cap because it's a 5 cap just because it's down the street. Just because it's down the street doesn't make it a good investment, guys, right? Remember our first initial pillar. It has to cash flow and give us an ROI that we want from day one. That's what this is. This is the ROI and cash flow from day one, guys. All right. And then the second thing you're going to see this calculator spit out is our rehab return, right? Because sometimes we want a big fatty check instead of owning a rental property. You know, we finish this rehab up and we're like, man, you know what? I would like to add this property in my portfolio, but you know, I'd rather have $25,000, right? So this calculator will allow you to see, right, if we do sell this property instead of keeping it as a rental, how much money we would make as a retail flip profit. All right, guys. So we fill in all of our blanks, right? All of our core numbers, which all of these will be found like on Zillow, right? We don't have to go anywhere to find all these numbers. All right. Then as we go through the photos, we'll fill out our repair estimator. And then once our repair estimator is filled out, it's going to spit these numbers out for us and we'll make a determination. Should I go rental route or should I go fix and flip route? All right. Now, guys, ninja tip. Here it goes. For a lot of us, figuring out an after repair value and finding comparable sales for our property can sometimes be a pain in the ass and can be very difficult for us. And that's okay, right? I agree. I've been doing this for 17 years. Sometimes I get stumped. The best free thing on the internet to find comps is redfin.com. All right. Type in a property address, 123 Main Street. That's not a real place. So type in a property address that you actually know. All right. Hit enter. Go find Redfin. Scroll about midway through that property kind of breakdown. You're going to see a little button right in the middle of the screen. It says comparables map. Click that button and it's going to put a map of comparables for you. All right. It's not perfect, but it's damn close. It's about as good as you can get for an algorithm. It's way better than the Zestimate. I'll tell you that much, right? Redfin.com, after repair values, that's your ticket. All right, guys. Again, I'm a proof guy, right? I don't like saying stuff and not having shit to back it up, right? All right. Here's an example. Leslie Way, one of my very first rental property pro students. I love her to death. She's an absolute rock star. She went to buy a rental property, and guess what happened? She got done with that rental property, she was like, I could sell this and put 60 grand in my pocket. So guess what she did? She sold it, put 60 grand in her pocket, and then went and bought a house for him and her and her kid. She's a single mom, rock star move. All right. Addie, she's closing on a duplex because of how well and how conservatively she negotiated and analyzed that property. Guess what? It appraised for 20 grand higher than what she thought it was going to be. Right. And Damon, he's like the king of sub 2 in our group. He's been smashing sub 2 deals left and right because he's analyzing deals so well and understands how to analyze deals. He's taking that back to the negotiation table with people and negotiating. Instead of buying houses, he's doing sub 2 deals on their existing mortgages, right? So the better we analyze deals, the better we can make offers and the better we're going to buy homes and get better deals. All right. So we've talked about finding it. We've talked about analyzing it. Now, guys, funding it, right? What's the moral of the story? John, do I need to have money? All right. Give me an oh, yeah, if you want the God honest truth. Read the question. Give me an oh, yeah. If you don't want the God honest truth, put no in the box. And you can cover your ears. I'll tell you when to cover your ears. Do you need money to buy real estate? I gotta clear the air, guys, because there's so many gurus or people out there that say you don't need any money to buy real estate. In the perfect world, yes, there are situations where you don't need money to buy real estate. There are. Okay. But 98% of the time, guys, you need money to buy real estate. Okay. And it doesn't have to be 20% down. It doesn't have to be $50,000, but you got to have some capital. Okay. And I'm talking like $3,000, $5,000, $7,000. So if you have $3,000 or more, you can probably put together a real estate deal, but you can't be broke. All right. So you have to have money. Why? What do I need to have money for? Well, you need to have a property inspection done on the home. That's going to cost you $300 to $500. All right. You're going to have money for an earnest money deposit. The average earnest money deposit's anywhere between about $100 to $3,000. All right. So you have to have earnest money deposit, right? Will that be reimbursed at the time of closing? Absolutely it will. But you got to write the check to begin with. Okay. So guys, we have to have a little bit of capital in order to get ourselves started. Just end of story. Okay. Now, how do we fund? Does that mean we can't fund 100% of our properties that we purchase? Absolutely not. We can definitely fund 100% of our purchase and renovation. Okay. So here's how this works. There's 4 ways to fund real estate. All right. We can fund it through hard money lenders. We can fund it through private money lenders. We can fund it through business credit and personal credit. All right. So hard money lenders, those are institutional banks that are put on this earth to do one thing: fund shitty houses and their renovations. That's the number one thing that hard monies do. They're institutional lenders. Private money lenders are people like you and me. All right. Except they got a lot of money, right? They got retirement funds. They got cash in the bank. They maybe have a home equity line of credit, and they want to act as the bank. They want to lend money to you to buy houses, to renovate. All right. That's what a private money lender is. It's not a bank. It's not a company. It's a person. All right. Business credit is credit that is created and operated through a business. All right. Now, contrary to popular belief, you can actually get business credit, guys, whether your business is 4 years old or 4 days old. You can get business credit. Okay. I have been working with a business credit coach for probably 9 years now. He's gotten me $1 million in business credit. All right. And I use that to grow my portfolio. All right. And then second is personal credit. This can contain personal credit cards, personal lines of credit, home equity lines of credit, It can even be 401ks, right, guys? So personal credit is all that personal capital that we have using our personal credit. Okay. So those are 4 ways to fund the deals. Now, how do we parlay this into funding 100% of a deal? All right. As a newer investor, here's what I would do. End of story. If I were starting over again, this is exactly what I'd do. No bullshit. Okay. Is I would go to a hard money lender and I would get that hard money lender to fund 80 to 90% of the purchase and 100% of the renovation of whatever deal I was buying. Straight up. Walk into a hard money lender. We have a relationship through Rental Property Pro with one of our hard money lenders that does what's called 95-100. They fund 95% of the purchase price and 100% of the renovation, right? That means you only got to figure out the other 5%, right? But if I was a new investor, instead of running out and trying to like sucker my closest friend, this business acquaintance that I met, like all these people talk about, just go out and get a private money lender. It's not that easy, right? So I would go and I would find a hard money lender to fund 90% of my purchase, 100% of my renovation. And then I would say, okay, I got to make up closing costs and 10% of the down payment. Closing costs and 10% of the down payment. I would then go and get a private money lender or use business credit or personal credit to fund the remaining amount, right? What does this look like? So let's talk through what a private money lender. Well, we are going to want to create relationships with private money lenders as we grow, right? And usually the best part to start a relationship is slow, right? On your second date, you don't ask that person to marry you, right? Well, maybe some of us do, but I did not. All right. So the last thing you want to do is run up to your private money lender on your first date and said, "Hey, will you fund 100% of my purchase and renovation?" It's not going to go well, right? You're going to want to say, "Hey, I have this deal. I know we've talked about investing with each other. Would you be okay funding $15,000 of a $200,000 project?" Right? They're getting in small, right? The risk level's low. They feel good about that. We're creating this relationship, right? We're holding hands before we're taking off clothes. All right. This is what our goal is here. All right. So we could create a relationship with a private money lender. We could use a business line of credit that we've created. We're all going to set up an LLC to start our real estate business. Use that LLC to go get some business credit, guys. You can go out and get $25,000 to $40,000 in a business line of credit like that right now. All right. Or you can go out and get a personal line of credit. Or you can go and take a loan out in your 401k. Whatever it takes, guys, to get that 10 to 20% down for purchase price or for down payment and closing costs, right? We can work that through multiple different streams of financing. All right. This is the easiest way to fund your first deal. I don't care who you are, easiest way to do it. All right. Whoop, going the wrong way here, guys. So let's talk about the 4 ways to fund and how we can provide these things for you. So remember we talked about done for you deals, right? Like here's the way that you can go out and find rental properties on your own, but also we do all that shit for you. Same situation here, right? These 4 ways to fund hard money lenders. Remember I talked about that 95-100 program? We have a relationship with 3 different lenders: Suncrest Capital, RCN Capital, and Kiavi Funding. All right. You've probably heard of some of those, right? I can tell you right now, you can pick up the phone and call them and try to get these deals, and you can't. All right. Because of the relationship we've created and the education that we supply to our students that they're so confident in that they'll lend money to our students that they wouldn't lend to others. We have private money lenders straight up that I've created relationships with over the last 15 years that will work with you guys. We have business credit. We have personal credit. We have all of these things inside of the Rental Property Pro program that you just have the opportunity to plug yourself into, right? And my favorite and most powerful way to fund these deals, guys, is from inside the freaking community, which this is proof in the pudding, right? This is one of our students, Michael Power. Great name, by the way, Mike Power. Like, let's be honest. He is going to do a full fix and flip on this home. Guess what he did, guys? He did exactly what I said. He funded the majority of this property using a hard money lender. He needed $25,000 to bring it to the finish line with closing costs and down payment. One of our students inside the program acted as a private money lender and funded that sucker for him. Next up, Ellen Duval. She's a rock. She's a single mom. I'm not joking when I tell you I think her credit is like 490. Ellen, if you're on here, I'm sorry for airing out your dirty laundry. But Ellen, all Ellen does is work her ass off. And no one can ever fault Ellen for that. Ellen got 4 properties under contract with inside of like 45 days, right? Ellen had never done a real estate deal in her life. Ellen kicked, screamed, scrounged, did whatever she could. The first property of those 4 closed. She used Derek's inside of our group. Tim's one of our coaches. Derek and Tim brought their heads together. They got funding for this property inside of the group, right? Awesome stuff. Tim, before he became a coach, he was a student, right? This is one of the first times that he got his first property. He did the same thing. He went out, he found hard money for his first deal, and then I think he funded the remaining $40,000 with a private money lender that I introduced him to personally to fund the rest of that deal, guys. So can this be done? Is this the easiest way to do it? It absolutely is. So just remember, guys, here's the game plan, right? If you're a new investor, the easiest way to do this is to stack financing, okay? It's really hard to go out and find a lender right out of the gate as a new investor to handle it all. You got to stack financing. You got to get creative, and this is the easiest way to do it, all right? That's the fund it piece. Drop in the chat. Give me an oh yeah if you guys are learning something here today. Give me an oh yeah if this is worth the hour. What are we in? We're in an hour. We're smashing it right now. Mike, Amber, Rebecca, thumbs up. I even like it. I would ask people for thumbs up, but I don't even know how to leave thumbs up in the chat, so I feel like that'd be too much. Nate, Julia, I love it, guys. Boom. Well, then let's keep dropping bombs, shall we? Third step or fourth step in this process, cash flow. What the heck does that mean? Well, normally we're buying value add properties. What does that mean? That means we're buying properties that are not great situations, right? They don't look good. They need some work done to them. Cash flowing it is just renovating it. All right. And the way we cash flow it is first and foremost, we remember that this is a rental renovation. You guys are not putting this shit on HGTV. Let's say that together. We are not putting this shit on HGTV, all right? There's no granite countertops. There's no tile backsplashes. There's no niches in the tile in the showers, right? We're not doing any of that stuff, all right? Durability and profitability are the keys. Durability and profitability. Write that down, star it, circle it. We're not going to be living here, all right? So this is a rental renovation, guys. The purpose of the rental renovation is to return us the highest amount of cash flow possible. All right. And what I've done is I created what we call the MVR, the minimal viable renovation. All right. What does that mean? Well, minimal viable renovation provides us with the highest amount of cash flow, the highest amount of property value with the minimal amount of work. The highest amount of cash flow, the highest amount of property value with the minimal amount of work. All right. Whenever we're doing a renovation like this, we need to be focused on just a few things. We need to reduce our renovation costs. All right. That's why we're doing, luxury or laminate vinyl plank flooring, right? We're doing Home Depot specials, right? What do I mean by Home Depot specials? Glacier Bay is Home Depot's resident kind of like brand. And we just buy Glacier Bay, guys, right? It's a great product at a very reasonable price, right? We do not need to be going to Bedrosians or Doll Tile and picking out mosaic tile from Italy. All right. So we make sure that we're using cost-conscious materials. All right. We want to do the work in the right places to demand the highest amounts of rents, right? Clean kitchens, clean bathrooms, new flooring, new paint, low maintenance. New kitchens, new bathroom, or should I say clean kitchens, clean bathrooms, new flooring, new paint, low maintenance. Those are the things that will demand highest rents. We're also going to be demanding multi-year leases. I can hear all of you rolling your eyes right now, right? I hear you rolling your eyes, right? What does this mean? John, why would you ever sell a multi-year lease? Guys, if you're not renting out your properties on multi-year leases, you're losing tens of thousands of dollars. End of story. I can show you the math if you need me to. All right. Multi-year leases. No one is allowed to rent one of my properties unless they're willing to sign a 24-year lease. I do my best to get 36-month leases in all of my rentals, but 24-month lease is the minimum. And you're like, well, guys, what about you can't raise the rents? Absolutely, you can. I put what's called a rent accelerator in all of my leases. Year one, it's $1,000. Year two, it's $1,050. Done. Rent accelerator. They know that going in. They sign that lease. It says it in the lease, the whole 9 yards. Multi-year leases are the keys, guys. And the reason why is because your largest expense will be on property turnover and property vacancy, right? And we reduce that by doing multi-year leases. Okay. We want to do renovations that reduce maintenance management, right? Like new roofs, new water heaters, new HVACs, right? Those are the things that cause consistent maintenance problems. And by going through the process of renewing all of those things when you buy a property as a rental, it's going to be key. Now, I'll give you an example. If I'm doing a retail fix and flip and I walk up to a house and I'm looking at a property and I look at that roof and I go, that roof has like 7, 8, maybe 10 years left on it. I'm not going to replace it. You know why? Because I ain't going to own that home in 7 to 8 years. I'm going to sell that thing in 3 months. But if this is a rental property and I'm looking at the roof and I say, man, it has 7, 8, 10 years left, I'm replacing it today. If I walk in and that water heater's been around for 10 years, but it's still cooking, still doing good work, and I'm selling this home in 4 months, did my camera freeze again? Guess what, guys? I'm keeping that property or keeping that water heater. But if I'm keeping it as a rental property, then I'm going to sell it, or I'm going to put a new property or new water heater in that property. I'm doing like 9 things at one time, holding a mic, trying to talk to you guys and reload my camera. Sorry about that. So we always want to focus on reducing maintenance management through our renovation project. And then obviously we're going to increase our property value. That can be done through curb appeal. That can be done just through the property being nice and clean. All right. And remember, guys, maintenance always equals vacancy. What the heck do I mean by that? Hold on 1 second. Let me restart my camera. What do I mean by that, guys? Well, picture and imagine you're a renter. And picture and imagine that you live in a property that's constantly having maintenance issues, right? The roof's leaking because no one will replace the roof. You have cold showers because the water heater doesn't work, right? The dishwasher leaks, right? There's all these maintenance items. Number one, are you going to be cool when they raise your rent? Number two, are you looking to get the hell out of that place as quickly as possible when you find your next best spot? Absolutely, you are. You want to 86 that joint as quickly as possible. So, but if you're in a place where there are no problems and you just wake up and go about your life every day and you don't have to worry about it, guess what? You're willing to stay there. And when they raise the rent on you, you're going to be like, oh, no, this place has been awesome. I can't complain, right? You're going to be willing to pay that higher rent. All right. So the MVR system, minimum viable renovation process, that is the purpose, is to maximize all of these factors without overspending. Okay. So what's that look like, guys? Oh, actually, we're going right into Ninja Tip. I forgot about this. If you've gotten anything out of this, be prepped for this. This is going to be an absolute game changer. I learned this. I'm actually, embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways because I'm an open book. And I think you guys have probably learned that by now. I only learned about this probably like 6 or 7 years ago. So, it took me, 12 years to figure this out. And I'm really pissed that it took me 12 years to figure this out because it probably would have saved me several $100,000. All right. I'm giving you guys a $10,000 bonus right here. All right. I learned this tip and trick in renovating properties, and it changed my renovation budget for not only my rental properties, but also my rehabs. And it was a game changer. And I will show you exactly what that looks like right now. So if any of you guys have been in a home built in the 50s, 60s, or 70s, you're going to find a bathroom that looks like this, right? And some point in time, there was a designer, a famous designer that said, shit brown and pink, those are perfect. Those are like, just the best colors in the face of the earth to go together. We're not only going to make sinks this color, we're going to make tile this color, we're going to make bathtubs, we're going to make everything shit brown and pink, and it's going to be the new trend. And it did. It became the new trend. But now that it's 2025 and we all are not colorblind anymore, we realize that this is very ugly. Historically, this would be an $8,000 bathroom renovation, right? We'd have to rip all the tile out. We'd have to replace all the drywall. We'd have to replace the floor. We'd have to put a new bathtub in, a new tub surround. We'd have to do a new vanity, right? $8,000 in work and materials. All right. Or we learn of this thing called epoxy paint. And what was once $8,000 is now $900, right? That is a new vanity. And no, those faucet is not gold. The picture just makes it look gold. Let's move past that and let's move to the fact that this is epoxy paint. Now, this is cool. You have to be a professional painter in order to do it. They have a DIY kit at Home Depot. I want you to sear this in your memory. When you're standing in Home Depot and you're looking at this DIY epoxy kit, I want you to hear my voice in the back of your mind. Do not buy it. It does not work. Do not buy it. John told me not to buy this. I'm not going to be an idiot and buy it. All right. Use a professional painter. You actually have to have a professional painting license to buy the good stuff, right? You can't just walk into Home Depot and snag this. All right. So it's a 3-step process. They come in, they acid wash everything. They wash the 50, 60, 70 years worth of grime off of all the tile. All right. They acid wash it. And then they come in and they rough everything up. They hit it with some sandpaper. They create some scuff marks to give the epoxy something to adhere to. And then they mix a 2-part epoxy. One's a hardener, one's a color. All right. We always choose white. You can choose whatever color you want. Just don't use pink and shit brown ever again. You mix that together and then they spray it through a high volume, low pressure sprayer onto the wall. So there aren't any roller or paintbrush marks. That's why we don't do DIY, because then you'll have roller marks all over your walls and it looks like shit and it will flake inside of a year. So what we'll do is we'll spray all that stuff on the walls. All right. And $900 later, we have a brand new bathroom. I have had these in my rental properties and sold these through my rehabs for the last 7 or 8 years. I have never seen or heard of one problem with any of these finished products, which are amazing. The better part is guess what? If you have like missing tiles or broken tiles, you just pop them off and you put a new tile on that wall before you epoxy paint it. It can be any color you want. But once it's epoxy paint, it's all one color, right? Nothing ever looks disjointed or discolored again. Here's another example. This is actually the master bathroom in this same house, right? We've moved from poop brown to pink over to baby blue and gray, right? I mean, you gotta love this stuff. Now, this shower that you're looking at, guys, has like, and remember, tiles didn't come in sheets back then. They laid that shit by hand, right? Like every one of those 1x1 inch tiles, they just laid that by hand. Like, I hope that every mason or tile guy back then was like worth like $10 million for all the time and effort it took to have to lay all this tile that I'm now painting. Sorry, guys. Anyways, this whole interior of the shower is all tile. This would have been another $7,000 to $8,000 job, right? Or $800 later, because it was a smaller bathroom, boom, right? This is a rental property. That's why we didn't paint the trim or anything like that, or finish the floors, right? They were in great condition, so we left them as is. We just epoxy painted all this stuff for a few $100s. It looks great. It adds massive value, and it increases our rents. All right. $10,000 bonus, right? This was literally, in this house alone, probably would have been about $12,000 worth of extra work to rip all of that out. Instead of $12,000, it was about $1,700, $1,800 in order to get this finished product. So all in all, about $10,000 savings. All right, guys. That's our ninja tip on renovating properties. Again, right? We want proof. Does this shit actually work? Well, let's see. Everything you need to take action and have success. Sarah, Ellen, we already talked about Ellen's a rock star, right? She could rate this 100 stars. Ellen, I wish you could rate it 100 stars. I'm going to need to buy her a birthday present. She's fantastic. Anyways, guys, we do what we say we're going to do. All right. The last step 5, automate it, right? We've done all the dirty work. We found it. We've gone through the process of analyzing it. We've funded the purchase. We've gone through the renovation. Now it's time to hand this off to the professionals, right? We are not $10 an hour employees. Why are we going to do $10 an hour activities? What does that mean? We're not going to manage our own properties. Say it with me. We are not going to manage our own properties. We're better than that. All right. We're going to hand these properties off to property managers, right? This property management is a partnership, right? We are the investor. The property manager is taking care of our investment. All right. Whenever we are looking for property management teams to work with, we have 5 pillars we want to look for. Number 1 is alignment of interests. All right. What does that mean? First off, they focus on the type of rental properties that you own, right? If they only manage 30-unit apartment buildings and higher, and you're trying to get them to manage your duplex, not a good fit, right? If they manage properties in the urban core, but you're in a nicer neighborhood, not a good fit, right? We have to find alignment of interests. All right. Their size and focus, right? Again, do they have one of my biggest kind of check marks for a property management team of if I'm going to work with them or not is, do they have a minimum of 450 properties under management? Usually a property management company is not that successful or not that profitable until they have 450 units under management. So we want to make sure they're the right size. Okay. Next up is resident selection. I want to know what their resident selection. Are they looking at credit? Are they looking at income? Right. I'll give you guys some quick and dirty on resident selection. All right. Warm that wrist up. All right. Warm those wrists up because you're going to take a lot of notes here. First and foremost, I don't give a shit about credit score. I said it. I don't care about credit score. Who cares what the credit score says? We all know that the credit score doesn't tell the whole truth. The credit report tells the truth. So if I set a credit score minimum, I'm going to miss out on a boatload of amazing residents, right? If someone had a medical emergency, right? They had cancer that they were dealing with for 2 years and they couldn't have enough insurance to cover all their medical expenses. And now the hospital's coming after them for medical bills they couldn't afford, right? Does that make them a bad resident? Does that make them a person that's, unwilling to pay their bills? No, that makes them a person that was set with, was dealt a bad hand, right? Now, if they have $67,000 on their Nordstrom card, right, maybe we're going to have a different discussion, right? But we always want to look at their credit report, not their credit score. Figure out the story, not the number. That's number 1. Number 2 is we want to have 3 times income, right? So everyone who's signing the lease, their gross income has to be 3 times whatever the rental amount is, guys. All right. Number 3, they have to sign a multi-year lease. 24 months or longer is the minimum. Wait, someone else just drew a line. A red line at the, did you guys see this happen? His name was Johnson. I'm not joking. Literally, the word Johnson came up and a red line was drawn down here. You guys are screwing with me. Johnson, if that was you, tell me the truth. In the webinar chat, how did you pull that off? Because I'm impressed. All right. What else about resident selection? Sign a multi-year lease, 3 times worth of income. I don't care about credit. Obviously, we know the whole deal with felonies and all that fun stuff. This is a huge one. You guys ready? Write this down. I want to contact their last 2 property management or last 2 landlords, right? The reason why, the last 2, all right? The most recent landlord, the landlord that they're moving out of right now and into your place. Guess what? They want to get rid of that person if they're crappy. All right. If they're a crappy tenant, they will say anything to get them out of their home. Right. But the landlord prior to them will tell them the truth, will tell you the truth. Right. So if you can go back 2 landlords or 2 property management companies or 2 investor owners or whatever, right? And you can find that person that has gotten rid of this tenant, all right, that does not have a dog in this fight, they will be open and honest with you about how good that resident is. All right. With property management, I want to talk about communication. There's 2 types of communication, guys. There's communication between you and the property management team, and there's communication between the property management team and the resident. I want to know what that communication looks like on both sides. All right. Realistically, for myself, I want to see that I have one point of contact, right? I have a customer care agent that I can speak to about anything revolving around my portfolio. And I want that customer care agent to be in consistent contact with me. What does that mean? That usually means a check-in call once every 30 days. So one person, all my needs every 30 days. Okay. And last but not least, how does their maintenance management work, right? For good property management teams, you're going to see maintenance management look like this. If it's a maintenance item that's under $450 or $500, the management team is going to take care of it on their own. They're not even going to call you. They're just going to go and fix that shit. And they're going to come back and they're going to bill you for it. That's just how it works. If it's over $450 or $500, they're going to call you and get your permission. Hey, water heater blew out. We need to put a new one in, right? Are we good with that? So they'll call you and they'll update you. And then they'll update you and send you pictures as that progress takes place or as that work is done. Now, in addition to being in communication with you about the maintenance, they're also following up with the resident. And I want to know what their process is for that with the resident as well, too. So when I'm interviewing a property management team, I'm looking for these 5 pillars. I'm asking questions around these 5 things. Now, inside the Rental Property Pro program, we got a 50 question questionnaire. Does that make sense? A 50 question questionnaire. Yes, that does make sense. With all the answers to the questions, right? So you can literally print this thing off, walk into a property management team, just get on a line, hammer them. No, it's not 20 questions, it's 50 questions, right? And see if they meet the criteria that you should want as a great property management team, right? And also, we know property management teams in pretty much every major city in the United States. So you don't even need to go through the property management evaluation. I'll just send you a list of them, right? But anyways, that's what I'm looking for in terms of property management teams. All right. Ninja tip. Who's ready? I think it's the last ninja tip of the day. Oh, man, is it? Let me see. Last ninja tip of the day. Be ready. Take notes, guys. This is key. Here we go. Inspect what you expect. What in God's name does that mean, John? Now you're just talking in gibberish. Inspect what you expect works like this. Whenever you're leaving a property management team's office, there's going to be a box with a listing somewhere hanging on the wall of all the rentals that they have available for rent. All right, grab that listing. Go for a drive. Go look at a couple of those properties on that list, right? The properties look good. Is the grass cut? Are they in good shape, right? Or is the grass knee high and like shutters are falling off and windows open, the doors ajar, right? How are those properties being presented? Because at some point, your house is going to be on that freaking list, right? And you want to make sure that they're taking care of their existing inventory. If everything looks good, all right, you like how the houses are presented, then we're going to go one step further. We're going to see, is there a sign in the yard? And what happens when I call that number? Does someone pick up immediately? Do I go to voicemail? How quickly can I get in the home? Can they let me in immediately, or do I need to schedule an appointment 3 days later, right? We want someone picking up that phone and figuring out a way for us to get in that house right freaking now, right? Because, decisions like that are made emotionally and they're made on the spot. And we want to be able to get people into properties and answer and viewing them. Because again, your house will be on that list at some point in time. So you want to see their process. They just told you all about their processes. Let's see if they actually follow those processes. All right. So inspect what you expect, guys. All right. And then ultimately, because we're using property management teams, this is what we want our inbox to look like, guys, right? Resident payment received, owner statement published, resident payment received, resident payment received. This is what you want your inbox to look like. This is one of my property management teams. This is one of my, in Memphis, I believe. This is Premier Property Management. Yep, Premier Property Management Group. They're out of Memphis, Tennessee. They also do Texas and like 13 other markets. They're fantastic if you ever need a property management team. But every month, boom, like clockwork, I get rental deposits and they email me, let me know that's happening. All right. Again, guys, I always got to show, is it the real thing? It's either proof or it didn't happen, right? That's why in Vegas, you never want proof. All right. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but not here. We have proof. I promise. All right. Take a deep breath. Shake out those wrists. State change. All right. Give me a cash flow in the chat if you're still having fun. Just write cash flow if you're still having fun. Boom. Emily, still having fun. Boom. Everybody's still having fun. Good. We're still having fun. Man, 90 minutes, guys. We've been doing great. We went through just recap real quick, right? We learned about our pillars, right? Our bumpers, our foundation for investing. We built out a little financial independent plan for ourselves. We learned about the endless equity strategy. We've seen case studies on that. What else do? We learned how to find it, analyze it, fund it, cash flow it, and automate it, man. We've been cruising, guys, and you've seen all the proof behind it. It's been awesome. Last thing I want to share with you guys is how to take advantage of all this and what this looks like, right? You guys knew this was coming, so let's rip the Band-Aid off and let's have some fun with it. All right. I'm a no bullshit kind of person, as you've probably learned, right? I swear, I tell it how it is, I give proof, and I answer all your questions, right? And that's exactly what I've always done when it comes to my coaching, training, and mentorships, right? I will not be easy on you, but I will get you results. And I think that's why most people work with me, is because I get them results. I teach the endless equity formula. I teach hundreds, if not thousands, of students at this point in time how to do this work and how to be successful with it. My first case study was truly my father-in-law. And the way that the endless equity, or the way that the rental property program or academy works, is a 12-month program. All these programs are like 3 or 6 months out there. There's so much bullshit, guys. You can't learn how to be a real estate investor in 3 months. Like, good Lord, right? It takes a year to figure that out, right? And that's how long this program is. It's 12 months. All right. The way that it works is over the course of 12 months, your goal, write this down right now. Your goal is you will have your first or your next rental property using the endless equity formula in 13 weeks, right? Here's the week. This is what you guys receive when you start. There's your success roadmap. Here's what you do week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, and week 7 through 13, right? That's the goal. That's the bare minimum. Is your expectation is to buy a rental property every single quarter, whether it's a single family home or a 4-unit apartment building or whatever. That's the goal. All right. And the goal is to learn how to do that in 12 months so that you can repeat it forever, for as long as you want. Okay. And that's through a 13-week process. So in 13 weeks, you're going to have your first property under contract ready to purchase. And then for the next 9 months, we will work on perfecting that property and every property and system that comes after it. All right. As part of the program, guys, you get on demand and live training. What the hell does that mean? All right. On demand is recorded trainings. I know you're probably sick of hearing my voice already. It's only been 90 minutes, but you get another 200 videos worth of it. All right. So I apologize in advance. I promise one day I'll shut up. Amber can't wait for that to happen. But until now, it's still going to talk. I'm still going to talk. All right. All the programs are laid out exactly the way that this is laid out. Remember this 13-week program? Look, isn't this amazing? Week 1, week 2, week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way through week 13, plus additional trainings on top of that, guys. Okay. So it's all laid out in a succinct way. Now, I know that we can't learn how to do real estate through videos, right? If someone told me to go watch videos and figure out how to invest in real estate, I would have punched them in the face and said, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So we're going to need some hand holding, right? You're going to need some one-on-one support. All right. And that's what we're here for as well, too, guys. In addition to all of this online training, guys, you're also going to get 3 times weekly. And this is actually going to turn into 4 here very soon. But right now, we're being honest, we do 3 weekly Q&A calls, right? Implementation group coaching calls. So this is where you get to jump on with me and my head coach, Tim, and do group calls, right? Get to ask Q&A. I bring on guest speakers. Like I just had my CPA. I have my LLC setup team on there as well, too. You can ask all those questions that you want. Group calls are awesome because you get to hear questions and ask questions that you might not have otherwise thought about, right? You get to learn things that you didn't even know you had questions about, right? That's the best part about group coaching calls. But group coaching calls is not the end of it, because at the end of the day, we all have unique needs. We all need unique support, and we all have unique goals. So in addition to that, guys, you guys get weekly one-on-one calls as well, too. Yes, you get to work with me one-on-one. Yes, I have 2 other coaches that work with me as well, too. So it's John, Tim, and Rob. I'm John. Hopefully you remember that. Tim is my project manager in Connecticut. He manages all of my renovation projects. He is a CPA by trade. So when it comes to numbers, deal analysis, project management, repair estimation, he's an absolute freaking rock star. Rob, I'm going to say this in the kindest way possible. He's probably been investing in real estate longer than I've been alive. He owns everything from single family homes to 30-unit apartment buildings. He is the sage of the group, and we all love Rob. So those are your 3 coaches, guys. I do one-on-one coaching as well, too, multiple times. I think I had 3 or 4 coaching calls today with students. We do coaching calls Monday through Saturday. Yeah, Monday through Saturday, Sundays off. So even if you need weekend coaching calls, You got them, guys. You got them, right? Like there's no excuse, right? We do calls from literally 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Like you cannot say that there's an excuse for not getting on a coaching call at all. And you get to have them weekly for an entire freaking year, right? So there's like we're leaving out no room for excuses or not having success. Okay? So weekly Q&A group calls, weekly one-on-one coaching calls. All right? In addition to that, guys, everybody needs like stuff, right? We need downloads, we need deal analyzers, we need material lists, we need our 6 critical documents for all of our contractors. The $25,000 I spent over the last couple years perfecting my leases and addendums and all of those things. Guess what? You get all that stuff, right? All of the systems and the checklists and templates and everything that you would ever need. Guess what? You get that as well too. That's not really fun and sexy, but I at least wanted to note it. Done for you deals. As we talked about this super early on the call, hopefully you still remember it, but it's my job as a mentor and as a trainer to reduce your learning curve. That's all a teacher is there to do, is to reduce the learning curve, to make sure you don't make a really dumb choice and lose a whole shit ton of money and reduce your learning curve. That's all coaches, trainers, mentors, whatever. That's all they're there for, right? The 2 biggest constraints that most new real estate investors have, 3 biggest constraints are finding deals, funding deals, and hiring contractors, right? I think the biggest one to overcome is finding deals, right? And that's why we created the done for you deal system inside of the program. So, right, remember these properties we looked at? 2 to 3 of these properties get dropped into the group every single week that you guys have the opportunity to purchase. They're there solely for you guys to buy. No one else is not, you're not competing with 1,000 other people out there in the world that are looking at these properties. They're there for you to buy. They have construction teams in place, management teams in place. If you don't want to deal with the renovation, you go down the road of buying a fully renovated property. Again, these are here for you guys, right? So you get the done for you deal process as well. All right. In addition, unlimited email support. Again, not sexy, but I know someone's going to have that question. Will you respond to my emails? The answer is yes. We will respond to your emails. We have a woman. Her name is Delphine. She's an absolute rock star. She lives on our email. I'm not shitting you. I got a Slack message at 10 p.m. Sunday, like 2 days ago, Sunday, from Delphine saying, "Hey, John, the student emailed in to ask me." My response to Delphine was not to answer the student's question. It was, "Why are you slacking me at 10 p.m. on Sunday? Go to sleep. We'll deal with this on Monday." All right. But that's Delphine's dedication. And that's how you have, just hope that she's not asking me for help for your question, because you're not going to get it at 10 p.m. on Sunday. All right. But that's Delphine. She's an absolute rock star. She handles all the support. She'll set up your onboarding call. She'll help you set up your first coaching call. She'll be there to answer all your questions through email support. Rock star status. All right. And last but not least, we have the community. There's only one other community in the real estate space that rivals this one. And I've known him and I've been friends with him for years. And what he has done and what he has created is amazing. And I think we are a close second in that running. All right. So I can't say we're the best, but we're number 2. I told you I'd tell you the truth, right? All the time. I'm putting myself in second place on this one. All right. But inside of our community, guys, I showed you, we fund deals, right? We help each other out, right? Like this is Helen. Sorry, not Ellen. This is Helen, right? Can I just say this is the best real estate training group support ever? That was January 14th. That was 7 days ago. And I promise she was not paid for this commercial. Okay. This is what we do, guys. We create real estate investors that want to buy rental properties. End of story. We're not teaching you how to start a rehab business. We're not teaching you how to create a wholesale business. You're not going to hear me talk to you about how to talk to sellers or how to cold call or how to send direct mail or any of that BS, right? We're teaching you how to build a rental property portfolio so you can create long-term wealth and create additional cash flow for yourself. That's how the game works. So what does all this add up to? Here it is. We're going to do a live onboarding call, you and me, straight up, one-on-one. All right. Well, I shouldn't say one-on-one. It's a group onboarding call, but it's with me. All right. We do Our one live weekly coaching call, you get a year, right? To do that, to do those coaching calls. We get 3 live weekly group coaching calls. That'll soon be 4, right? Now, let me do that math because I'm going to vomit when I do this math. This is how many coaching calls you guys get, group coaching calls. It's 156 group coaching calls, guys. Can you see 156 group coaching calls, right? You can't buy a property with 156 group coaching calls. We need to have another meeting, all right? Unlimited email support. You get that forever. Facebook community. You get it forever. Done for you deals. You get those forever. Yes, you get those forever. Training videos. We update those training videos every week. Like I add 2 to 4 videos every single week. You get those forever. And all those downloads, leases, as I update mine, you get yours updated. All right. That's the game. All right. That's how you can be part of the Rental Property Pro Academy, what you get out of it. At the end of the day, guys, I'm not here to waste my time. And God, I hope you're not here to waste yours. What I want you to do is I want you to do one thing before I go on to the next slide is I want you to make a decision. And I don't care what decision it is, right? But I know for a fact for many people on this call, this is not the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh webinar they've sat on, right? To learn about real estate investing. I want you guys to make a decision right now. That decision is to do one of 2 things. One is that you're going to commit to investing in real estate and making a change, doing something different. Instead of sitting on webinars all day long, you're going to make a change, you're going to make a decision, and you're going to take action. That's option 1. Option 2 is you're going to make a decision that I haven't taken action in so long. I've sat on so many of these webinars that real estate's not my thing. I'm going to move on and I'm going to do something else. And it's okay on whatever decision you make, right? We're here to change our lives, whether that's moving towards real estate or away from real estate, it doesn't matter, right? I just want you guys to make a decision on what you're doing by the end of this call for yourselves, right? Now, if you guys make the decision to go down the route of actually pursuing real estate and taking action, we get some benefits. So first off, is instead of 12 months worth of coaching, guys, because you have sat here and listened to me blubber for, God, 100 minutes at this point in time, you all deserve an Academy Award. And for that, you guys are going to get 3 months worth of additional coaching. So instead of 12 months, you get 15. All right. 15 months, right? One-on-one and group coaching. Tell me in the chat one other coaching program that will give you one-on-one coaching and 3 times a week coaching call for 15 months. It doesn't exist. All right. And then I will let you bring a partner into it for free. So if there's anyone that you want to bring on and bring in for free, you're more than welcome to do that as well too. Okay. So you can bring on a partner. Normally we charge an additional cost for an investment partner, but because you sat on here and listened to me talk, you guys can do that. Now, there's a catch. As you guys saw, let me go back here. This is our group. Proof is in the pudding and it's always in the pudding. Okay. So is obesity, but we're not going to talk about that. So proof is just in the pudding today. We have 232 members in the group. Actually, I think this photo is taken long. We think we have about 360 members in the group now. This is not a big group. You want to go to sub 2 and talk to Pace Morby, there's 15,000 people in that group, right? You want to go to Fortune Builders and look at their group, there's 35,000 people in that group. That is education for the masses. That is a success rate of 10, 15% for the 15 or 30,000 people in that group. I don't do that. I don't waste time. I want to work with people who want to get results. End of story, right? We open up and close and open up and close registration. We only take in so many people every single week so that we can throttle how many people we have in the program and how many coaches so that you can literally, guys, if you want to schedule a coaching call same day because you have a deal rocking and rolling that you can't screw around and wait for, you have the ability to do that, right? Because we want you to have success. So right now we have 11 slots open for students, right? That's our allocation for the rest of January and probably the first week or 2 in February. All right, 11 slots open. So you get all that along with the fast action bonus if you enroll within 24 hours of your first call. All right. So how do you get your call? Amber's going to drop the link into the chat right now. I'm just going to put it up here on the screen. But Amber's going to drop the link in the chat. That link goes to a calendar to talk to my team on admissions. All right. You're going to talk to one of like 4 different people. There's Renee, there's Ken, there's Sean and Michael. All right. And Josh. So 5 different people. Sorry. All are experienced real estate investors. Like Shawnee, for example. Sean's my man. Sean is like, you ever seen the most interesting man in the world commercials? That's Sean, right? And up there with Ken as well, too. Sean has moved to Costa Rica. He owns 13 properties in Memphis, Tennessee. He collects cash flow and lives in Costa Rica with his kids. It's the coolest thing ever. Ken owns rental properties. Ken's in his van. When you talk to Ken, ask Ken where he's at. Be like, Ken, where's your van parked right now? And how well is Starlink working for you? Because I'm not shitting you. He will be in his van somewhere in the middle of nowhere having a conversation with you because of what real estate's been able to do for you. So if you talk to Ken or Sean, ask those questions. All right. So, guys, I would love to have a deeper conversation with you guys. And I would love to see you guys come into this program and experience at I wish I could give you that feeling right now of, how honored I am for the community that we have created and everything that we've done. But you're just gonna have to come see for yourself. So I want to answer questions for you guys. Use the link. Amber dropped it into the chat. So you can click on that link, sign up for a call. There might be a short little questionnaire you have to answer. I can't remember. But anyways, sign up for a call. You'll chat with my guys either tomorrow or Friday. Within 24 hours of that call, if you guys wind up becoming part of the program, you'll have the ability to get the 3 extra additional months of coaching. Plus, you can add in a free investment partner. And we'll be off to the races from there. Guys, questions. Hit questions in the chat so I can answer them for you. It can be about anything. It can be about the membership. It can be about anything that we've talked about up to this point through the presentation. I am an open book, so utilize it, please. Did you see that? Johnson just drew another line. Johnson, man, I know you're screwing with me now, bud. Nobody has any questions? I mean, I'm good, but am I that good? Gaborto, cost of the program. It varies, man. It really depends on how much support and help that you need. It will vary. And that's why there's no like open cart or, press this button to check out, because my team is, here's the different situations that each investor could be a part of. And you guys can qualify for whatever you feel like you could get the most money out of. Amber, you got some questions from earlier? Please drop them in here. Liza Raymond. What states are done for you deals in? Great question, Liza. So the done for you deals, if you guys got pens and papers out, get ready. Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, Ohio, Indianapolis, Alabama, and Florida. Wow, I can't believe I just did that all without forgetting. I don't know who this is. It just come in at iPhone 3. So iPhone 3, didn't hear you talk about tax benefits at all. Can you do that high level? Yes, I can do that at high level. So guys, tax benefits are insane. All right. I'm just going to put this out here for you. All right. I'm going to give you an example. All right. So if any of you guys have ever heard the term cost segregation, this is something that you have the ability to do whenever you're renovating a rental property. Okay. So for example, with cost segregation, right? And you renovate a rental property, you have a portion of this rehab budget, whether it's 15,000, 30,000, 40,000. A portion of that rehab budget can be what's called cost segregated. That cost segregation can be written off year one towards your income. Now, if you're considered a real estate professional, which if you're doing 2 or 3 deals every single year as fix and flips or rentals or what have you, you can qualify as a real estate professional. If you can qualify as a real estate professional, that cost segregation write-off can go towards your W-2 active income. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you're a teacher. All right. You're making $150,000 a year. That's a hell of a teacher. $100,000 a year as a teacher. Okay. And you're doing 2 or 3 renovations a year. All right. And, in total, you've done $150,000 worth of renovations. All right. In terms of actual cost. Of that $150,000, probably $110,000 of it can be considered cost segregation. That means you can have $110,000 of write-offs towards your $100,000 W-2 income. Yes, you can write off all of your W-2 income from a completely non-related job by being considered a real estate professional and buying rental properties like this. So that's the huge benefit of doing like the endless equity formula and getting tax benefits from it. In addition, you have your depreciation and your 1031 exchanges and your interest write-off and all that other stuff. Nate, how do you overcome analysis paralysis? Easiest way is having someone else kick you in the ass, right? Like, Nate, if you and I were sitting on a phone call together and we just analyzed a property and I looked at you, I said, Nate, that is a good deal. Make that freaking offer. Would that be enough to push you to make that offer? Because that's what it looks like. All right. That's the easiest way to get over analysis paralysis is have someone kick you in the bum for it. All right. Let me roll through this. We got lots of questions. Nate, you got it, man. We have Zoila. How do you know if a property should be a flip or keep as a rental? Boom. Love that question, Zoila. We just come on back here. Let me find the slide right here. Our deal analyzer tells us numbers don't lie, right? Do we like the cap rate? Do we like the cash flow? Do we like the cash to close during refi? Or do we like the fix and flip numbers better, right? Which number do we like better? Whichever number we like better, that's the one we choose. Easy peasy. Let the numbers tell us. C. Starmer. If I'm a full-time teacher, don't I have to work real estate more than half time to become a real estate professional? There are 3 guidelines. You do not have to hit all 3 guidelines. You have to hit one of the 3 guidelines in order to qualify as a real estate professional. And no, full-time is not one of those, right? If you were putting together 3 to 4 or 5 deals a year, that is easily a real estate professional. No questions asked. There isn't a CPA that would challenge that statement. C-Star, can you explain how to become a real estate professional a little now? Man, my camera, I swear to God. Best way to do it, bud, is just Google IRS qualifications as a real estate professional. I promise you that's the easiest way. Mike, lenders normally want to see that you have down payment and or reserves to provide approval. If a private lender helps me with providing funds at close, how do I get approval? That's actually not 100% accurate. So the relationship that we have with Kiavi, which is a hard money lender, they do not require proof of down payment for you guys. You guys can jump in and not need that, even though you might be funding it from somewhere else. An example that's happened with, who was it? It was Tim. Tim and the private money lender that I put him in contact with, for example, his hard money lender did want to see proof. So the private money lender sent him the money before closing. He used that capital to present that to the bank. And then at that point in time, use that as proof. Mike, hopefully that answered your question, bud. Awesome, guys. Amber, you want to repost that link in here before we forget about it or lose it? I just want to make sure everybody has a chance to set up a call. Guys, you have been dedicated. There are 57 people still in this call, like absolutely rock star level. That's telling me that you guys want to learn, which I love to see that. Guys, you guys want to see something cool? You guys got time for like, you got 10 more minutes. You want to see something legit? Give me an oh yeah if you guys want to take 10 minutes and then you want me to do another quick presentation. I just want to kind of share with you a little like how. All right, cool. Let's do this. I was thinking about this earlier. Let's do it. Oh, I found out today that someone was trying to break into my iPad. Wonder who that was, Amber. No, guys, it wasn't Amber. All right, I'm going to unshare my screen and reshare in a second. Hold on one second. Guys, can you see this? This is my iPad screen. See me right on it? All right, cool. We're going to do a little presentation. All right. I skipped this earlier, but I think it's powerful to know because one thing that I've learned as a coach and a trainer over the years is sometimes the picture can get so big that it becomes so scary and we don't do anything. Right. So, I know all you guys here are like super stoked to build a rental portfolio of, 10, 15, 20 properties. Right. But if at times that becomes overwhelming, what I want to show you guys is what's the bare minimum you can do to still make a difference. Right now, before we jump into this, I'm going to ask you guys this. The goal when I started kind of thinking about this and trying to come up with how to solve for this, the goal was to solve for the two largest expenses in the average American's life. All right. So one is largest expense, two is American, right? So, we have different expense issues than the rest of the world in some cases, right? So, guys, in the chat, I guys want you to put what you think the two largest, just straight up expensive burdens are in the average American's life, all right, through their lifetime. Home and education. Gilberto, you are good for one of them. Education. Education is one of them. Boom. Who was that? Zoila. And I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Medical. You guys nailed it. Two biggest expenses in the average American's life are education and medical expenses. All right. My goal was how do we solve for those? All right. If those are going to be our burdens, how do we solve for them? All right. So let's all commit. I think we can very easily commit on this call that we can all buy one property, right? Like we can figure out a damn way to buy one rental property. All right. So if we can commit to that and we can buy one rental, right? I am not an artist, but there's our one rental house. All right. Let's just say we use the endless equity formula to figure this out. We buy this house. All right. And let's say that when we were all said and done with this property, we owe $150,000 on it. All right. But it's worth 200 grand. All right. So we owe 150. It's worth $200,000. And every single month, this thing's kicking us $350 in net rental income. Okay. And instead of buying bonds, instead of opening up, an education fund, instead of, hoping and praying that interest rates will be low so student loans won't be brutally expensive when our kids are born, we buy a rental property. That's our college fund. That's our expectation. Okay. So we bought this house and we need to solve the education. This can be for ourselves too, right? I just had Asaya just joined our group. He's 20 years old, almost 21. He's almost old enough to drink. Kid's already house hacking his first duplex, and he just wants to grow his rental portfolio. But he's, I digress. Anyways, our goal here is to solve for our kids' education. All right. So for example, if we take this $350 that we get every single month, right? This for most of us, this won't pay a cell phone bill, right? So what are we going to use it for? We're employed at this point in time. We're working. We're just solving for education. We're going to take this $350 and we're going to shove it right back into the mortgage. All right. That's going to take this 30-year mortgage and turn it in to a 15-year mortgage, if not sooner. You'll probably pay it off sooner than that. But for the sake of easy math, we're going to take this $350 a month. We're going to throw it into our $150,000 mortgage. We're going to turn it from a 30-year mortgage into a 15-year mortgage. Now, guys, I know I start asking harder questions as this call goes on, but I'm going to ask you this anyways. How old is the average freshman in college? All right. What's the average age of a freshman? You can drop that in the chat. Just so you know, I don't move forward until I get answers. 18. Thank you. All right. So 18. So if we bought this house prior to or near when our child was born, we would have had it paid off 3 years before it was time for them to go to college. All right. So we have a free and clear house. All right. So this house currently has $0 mortgage on it. Now, traditionally, what we would do is we would go to the bank, right? We would go to Ellie Mae or whoever the hell the people are that do the student loans, and we would ask for student loans, right, to go pay for college. But instead, we were smart. We bought a rental property. All right. So now we go to the bank. And we go to the bank, and let's just picture and imagine over 18 years, this house didn't appreciate a penny, right? Can you imagine that? Didn't appreciate a penny. This thing is still worth $200K. And we go and we get another $150,000 loan. All right. So we take out a new mortgage, right? Now, guess what? There's a renter that lives in this house. All right. This renter just goes back to paying off our mortgage. So we're still, rents haven't increased either, guys, in 18 years. Can you believe that? We're still getting $350 a month. So instead of needing to have to pay off student loans that our kids took out, whether it's our kids that pay them off or we that pay them off, guess who's paying them off? Mr. Renter is paying off our student loans, right? And hopefully our kid doesn't want to go to medical school because all we got is 150 grand. They're done. 150 grand, that's it. Or you got to buy another rental property. Those are your options, parents. All right. All right. So no medical school for you. You get a 4-year state school, be done, or get the hell out. All right. So we're still getting this $350 a month, right? So that solves problem numero uno, right? How to pay for our kids' college. Now, problem number 2 is we're getting older. All right. God, death and taxes. Those are our only guarantees in this life. All right. And we're headed towards the latter or the former. All right. So what our goal here is to now not be a burden on our kids once they're out of college, they're graduated, they have a job and career, they have a family of themselves, and they do not want you moving into that mother-in-law suite in the basement. All right. So we need to take care of ourselves. So how do we take care of ourselves? And I'll use a very personal story to show you exactly what I did. All right. So, for example, my grandmother ran into this very situation, right? If any of you guys have experienced long-term care, not only is it brutally expensive, but they need some absurd shit to qualify for long-term care. I'll give you an example, okay? My grandmother lives in a very small town, all right? That small town, the average household income was 36 grand a year. That was the average household income. You know how much money my grandmother needed to have in her bank account in order to submit an application into that long-term care home? Tell me how that's supposed to work. I need to have 36 grand in cash in my bank account to get accepted into a long-term care home, but the average household income's 36 grand. Those two things outside of being the exact same number do not work well together. Okay. So we had to come up with a solution, right? Now, the solution was the home that she lived in was free and clear. Okay. So instead of using rents, like in this situation, to pay off the home, what we did was we took her property, we went down to the bank, we refinanced the house, we got out 150 grand. Sound familiar? We put that 150 grand into her bank account. All right. Now that we had that $150,000 in the bank account, she was able to apply to long-term care. All right. But instead of selling her house, right, we put a renter inside of that house. All right. That house is now professionally managed. It cash flows her kids' money. And over time, what's going to happen is the renter is going to pay all this off. All right. And once the renter pays that off, then the kids, can make the choice to sell the home. And when they sell it, they can actually get something. They can actually have some type of inheritance from their mom, right? Whereas otherwise, they would have had to sell the home, take 150 grand of it, put it into long-term care. That money would have gotten eaten up by that long-term care facility. And then at the end of the day, my grandmother would have passed away and the kids would have nothing, right? But instead, we turn this into a rental property instead of just a straight bank account. And over time, in about 10 to 15 years, once this home gets paid off, right, because we're taking the rent and we're driving it back into the mortgage, right, it'll be free and clear. And at that point in time, they can sell it and they can all walk away with $50,000 or $60,000, right, and have a little bit of legacy from that endeavor. Okay, guys? So what we've done is we've done the minimum amount of work, right? What's the minimum amount of work? The minimum amount of work is buy one house. All right. We've purchased one property and we've solved the two largest expenses in the average American's life, right? Now there's some considerations here, right? The consideration one is that we didn't talk about maintenance or vacancy. What we also didn't talk about is rent increases or the value of the home increases, right? So I'm saying that we're going to take into those considerations, say they cancel themselves out. All right. But that is if we can commit to just one house, just buying one house, we can solve the two largest problems that we have as Americans, right? And like that's, if we had this financial education up front, we would know this, right? Like we wouldn't have issues with paying for college or issues with, oh my God, all these people can't afford retirement or their medical expenses and stuff like that. Like it's, one, we're not getting the education we need. Two, we're being victims, right? We got to stop both, right? You now have the education. Now it's on you to stop being a victim and take the financial control you need to have success, right? What question you guys got? Hit me with them. Mm-mm-mm. Where did chat go? We lost it. Uh, Leah, is it true you need a lawyer to sign your contracts, drawn up a lease? No, you don't have to have an attorney sign your contracts. Nope. That is agreement between either you as the owner of the property and the tenant, or that agreement is going to be between the property management company and the tenant. No attorney needed to sign anything. Mike, your private money lenders will provide funds prior to close. Yes, some of them will. Some of them will need to be sending the funds to the title or attorney. So it just depends. It's an either or. So either the private money lenders. Now, if you're using business credit or anything like that, then yes, you can obviously use that whenever you want as well too. Mike ask, are your states Tennessee, Texas, Arkansas? Nope, no Texas. We don't do Texas. Judicial or non-judicial states. We're Mike, every state that I'm going to ever talk about with you in terms of like rental property investing, and this goes for anyone on this call, they're going to be very what we call investor friendly or investor fair states, right? California, New York, Connecticut, Illinois, right? Not investor friendly or investor fair, right? They're all resident or tenant friendly and fair. And I'm not here to get into a political battle with anyone, but traditionally, Republican states, red states are going to be more landlord friendly, where blue states or liberal states or democratic states are going to be more resident friendly, right? So That's just the distinction. That is what it is. So we're always going to talk about investor-friendly states. iPhone 3 back again. Does cost segregation only work for fix and flip? And what about buy and hold? Absolutely, dude. We just talked about that. Let me scroll back. Boom. Where is it? Wait for it. Wait for it. So check this out. This is a rental property. This is a rental property that one of my students owns and will hold forever. We do cost segregation on the initial renovation to a property, whether we are going to sell it or we are going to keep it. So cost segregation is just related to the rehab, regardless of what we're going to do with the property. Keisha, I'm in California too. That doesn't mean we have to invest in California. I don't own shit in California except for a house in Lake Tahoe. Other than that, everything in mine is in the Midwest, right? And that's the goal, guys, is just because we live in a state that has crap for investment does not mean that we need to invest in that state, right? That's the whole point of what we teach here is you can invest anywhere in the country regardless. Carrie, price. Some of us are trying to figure out if we could even make it happen. I would assume you mean the price of the mentorship or the academy. Price varies, Carrie, to be honest with you. It all depends on how much support you feel you're going to need. Once you jump on the phone with Sean, Mike, Renee, or Josh, nailed it. And they talk through kind of what your needs or your wants and what you're looking for. They'll share price and everything with you. Yep. Mike, will you be sending out both done for you deals and rehab so we can determine to invest? Absolutely, Mike. You guys get to pick what you want to do with your properties, right? This is a free world, right? We just provide you with the property and you guys make the decision on what you want to do with it. Are all your deals single family residence or do you also send out multifamily? We also send out multifamily. Absolutely. Now, the vast majority of properties in the United States are single family homes, like by I think 80% of properties in the United States are single family homes. So you're obviously going to see more of those than anything else. But yes, we do duplexes, 3 units and 4 units. Yep. Liza, realistically, how much money do I need to get started buying done for you deals? No point of starting your program unless I can act and invest. Great question, Liza. It really depends. If you want to fund 100% of the deal with private money and hard money, then, as I said before, what I say at the beginning, $3,000-$4,000, and if you don't want to go out and do, uh, like stacking of financing, if you're like, I just want to, use hard money and put 10% down for the purchase and the renovation and all that stuff, you don't want to stack financing to get 100% financing, then you're going to need 10 or 15 grand, right? Just depends on how much work you want to put in. The more work you put in, guess what? Less money you got to spend. It's a beautiful thing about America and capitalism. Keep these questions rolling, guys. I've been here for over 2 hours. I can't believe this. I'm so happy you guys are still stuck with me. Thank you. Are your deals single family also sent out multiple? Oh, sorry, I read that one. I think we hit the end of the questions. Oh, maybe one more. Do you provide templates for purchase agreements? Absolutely, Mike. You asked for a template. It is in there. I promise you that. Where I'm looking for a specific slide here, guys. Anika land banks. That's a new one. No, I'm not familiar with that. That should probably tell you its popularity after 17 years of investing, and I've never heard of a land bank. Awesome stuff, guys. Well, there it is. We've hit it. We've done it. 2 hours of unbelievable fun. Guys, if you want to book a call, Amber just redropped that link in there for you guys. So feel free to utilize that. I highly recommend it. My team is super knowledgeable. baseline, they're just there to answer your questions. It has been an honor and a pleasure sharing the space with you guys for the last 2 hours. Hopefully you've gotten a boatload out of it. Hopefully that you can walk away from here and start implementing some of it into your investing future. And I'm just going to go back to something I said earlier. Make a decision, guys, right? Like, it's 2025, it's January. We're all about resolutions. For most of us on this call, it's probably not the first webinar we've sat on, right? We've probably been to 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, God only knows, right? Make the decision. Are we going to invest in real estate or not? If we're not, just let it go. Move on. Go to something else that you're willing and able to take action on, right? Because I want you to be successful at something. If you want to stick to real estate, then make a decision to take action today on that. Okay, just make a decision, right? As my aunt used to always say, I don't know why my aunt would say this to me. She'd say, "Shit or get off the pot, John." So here's the time. We're gonna shit or get off the pot. All right. Guys, it has been a pleasure. I hope that I get to see you on a coaching call or a group coaching call at some point in the future. Other than that, I will leave this up for a little bit longer. So if you guys need access to that webinar link, you have the ability to do that. Other than that, have a fantastic rest of the afternoon. Have a fantastic start to your 2025. My blessings are with you guys. And as always, happy investing. I'll see you on the other side, guys. Later.